Hey friends, it's Carl here again with Calm Survival. And today I'm going to start a little series on knives and tools. Yeah, I guess I own a few. Okay, now that we've got the table cleared, first off, this is not going to be a which knife should you buy. There's way too many choices, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go. This is more of an overview on what sort of tools should you have no matter where you live so that you have some capabilities in the event of an emergency. Yeah, most people wouldn't see that coming either. Now, trauma shears or crash scissors are a pretty common thing. Find them in a lot of first aid kits, but there's one key detail that you need to watch for. The rivet, the pin here, it should be solid and it should look beefy to you. This one is marginal. If it's a hollow tube, don't even worry about it. Throw them out. You will break them. Even somebody with tiny hands like mine, it's just not worth it. Pay money, get a good set. There's a lot of stores in most cities. There will be a police, a paramedic, a fire supply store. Those are a good place to look. Okay, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. There's a lot of things. If you are one of those people that just does not like having knives around, which, you know what, I get, it's not for everybody, good crash scissors are something you definitely want. The next thing is a saw. Now, a saw is like, you can spend a little, you can spend a lot. In general, you will get what you pay for. So spending a little bit extra. This one is a Silky Pocket Boy. They just name them based on their size. But the number of times where something small can be fixed, small branches, things like that, that you can just handle yourself. Obviously, watching for power lines and things like that. But a saw is the safest way to sort those things out. Now, when it comes to the size of the teeth, as the general rule, the smaller the teeth, the better it is for harder things. The bigger the teeth is better for softer things. So these ones are kind of in the middle to large-ish, okay? And the thickness of the thing you're cutting, you want it to cover at least between 4 and 8 teeth. So this saw wouldn't be very good for cutting thin boards, works fine for branches. And half of the length of the saw is the useful distance that you can cut. You can cut bigger, but it starts getting frustrating. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But a saw is a nice, safe way to get rid of, debris, things like that. And that can happen even in urban centers. You'd be surprised when just having a little tree falling down is something you need to take care of. Then the next thing that you should have in your we need to move from this location survival supply kit, a knife with a cover that you can do some cooking with. Most of the time, you're going to be just using a knife to prep some food. Okay? Need to cut some rope? You got scissors. Need to cut something more? You have a saw. Neither of those make good sandwiches. Now, certainly, I would recommend something a little bit better than a little grocery store cooking knife, but food prep is something that is definitely overlooked when it comes to just the general, hey, we're in an unknown situation. All right. So that is the thing that I look for in all of my knives, is how well is that going to perform in a food prep task. Okay. I have a bunch of different knives, and almost all of them are at least reasonably decent at food prep. When you see a lot of the big, ugly survival knife, hardcore, middle of the jungle kind of knives, they're actually a real pain to try and do any kind of cooking with. And when we're in a bit of a crisis, you know what makes people feel good? Food. So don't overlook it, and don't think that you need that in your survival kit if you don't know how to safely use it. All right. We want to do stuff the easy way. We want to do stuff the calm way. Well, those, okay, maybe not this one. Maybe something a little better. But we can definitely find something that will get us a sandwich made. Cut our way to freedom and make sure our first aid gets handled. That's what I'm talking about. So what do we need to watch out for when it comes to marketing? First thing, any sort of military service, and the presumption that their military service means they know how to make a knife. If they know how to make a knife, they're not selling it based on their military service, because guess what? That's a survival knife. That's a survival knife. Actual kind of military ones. Okay, not really. This is not quite the right Swiss Army knife, but it gets the point across. Okay. The main thing is that there's a lot of people who are willing to lie about military service to try and sell something or trying to mislead you. Walk past that marketing. Another big one, space age materials. Every other Kickstarter seems to have some sort of, we teamed up with NASA. No, you didn't. You went and bought some stuff. Just because you can buy stuff doesn't mean you know anything. There's a lot of really reputable companies out there, and some of them use some pretty extreme marketing, but it's also verifiable. You can look, you can figure this stuff out. Another big one is pattern welding and Damascus. Damascus, one, it's sort of a marketing term now because it doesn't mean what it used to, and even then it didn't even mean that. And there's a couple of companies that do make some pretty good pattern welded steel, but we're not in the many $100 market for the kind of stuff for our little cruising out the door because it is time to leave home kit. All right. Honestly, that does not look like a big bad military knife. But I'll tell you, militaries do a lot of eating, and that is not a bad knife to make some food with. So make sure that you're watching out. Keep your eyes open for the marketing, because when it comes to this sort of thing, the world is full of it. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of the direction we're going to head. If that's enough information for you and you're ready to head off on your own, that's awesome. But I'm going to keep adding more information. We'll keep fleshing this out, look at a whole bunch more detail, and try to give you a broader understanding of some of them, some more of the factors that go into just picking some of the cutlery and digging through the market. All right, we'll catch you next time.